Today we're going to talk about racism. The word, the fruitiest word in the English language. The most abused and misused word maybe in the history of histories. The best way to understand racism is understand that there is only one race, and that's the human race. That's the only race on earth. There are many different breeds of humans and many different branches of the human society called cultures and tribes, etc. But whether someone's racist or not, that's a different matter altogether. There's cultural snobbery, where one culture thinks it's superior to another, and it has done in the past, and that is called racism. And it's wrong and it's evil and it's caused much disquiet and discomfort and much cruelty to other humans. But still today, there are some cultures who are not white, who still practice slavery and are very cruel to each other. So to measure the most, if we're going to use the term racist, who the most racists are, will probably be those who treat their own the worst. And there's another measure of, if you like, how least racist people may be. In the modern sense, in the 21st century sense. The more tolerant or more free and safe that women feel in society amongst men, the more tolerant that society will be to other races and cultures, other cultures. This is why Europe and white societies in the world, Anglo-Saxon societies, have been happy to take in all these migrants. The migrants aren't leaving and going to other countries. They prefer to come to Christian countries. And then they come in and act in a way that's antithesis to the peace and quiet of that society by condemning the societies they've come into. So therefore they're coming in with, we'll use the term racist, with racist intent to cause disquiet in the societies they've entered. And then they say, oh, the white society what invited them are racist majority. No, they're not a majority, because there are 1 billion Muslims. Like there are 1 billion Indians, 1.3 billion Chinese, and billions of black people. They're not minorities. They're a massive majority by 40 to 1 or more. Maybe it's more by now. So to say they're minority groups, when all their empathy is with their own people in their own lands, when they're living in our lands, or the lands of the Anglo-Saxons, Danish, is really to lose the thread and lose the plot when it comes to explaining things rationally, logically and objectively. Without being objective and scientific and rational, things aren't actually getting explained at all, and things are just used, or ideas or themes or passions and fashions are used in an emotional sense, not a rational sense. So people are called racist or homophobic or sexist because you can point to someone and then the collective will gang upon them and pick on that particular person, which shows that those people who do the collective ganging up are the ones to be least trustworthy and more likely to be the most racist, if we're going to use that term, or think they're culturally superior to the ones they're picking on, who they may call racist because they're white and be seen as elite or a Catholic or something like that. Now, so before, as people keep using this term racism, or you're a racist, that's racism, first of all they have to look at their own culture and see how that treats its own people first, before they condemn other cultures as some sort of excuse. Look over their divert attention from themselves to blame someone else for all the agonies they're going through. And I understand totally the emotional drag that people have, the emotional sentiment people have towards the injuries to their particular culture in the past. And without forgiveness, people cannot progress out of that and move on, which is a shame and sad for them. But the white people are no longer the cause of the suffering for the rest of the world. The rest of the world causes its own suffering by the way it treats its own people, and that's their choice, and that's where they need to move on. and realise it's nothing to do with racism, it's about humanity itself. Just the simple measurement is the safer women feel amongst the males of that society, then the less patriarchal it is, the better the balance between men and women, the better, richer, happier society that will be to live in. And that's what makes those societies with a better balance between men and women most attractive to most migrants. So in that way, Muslims are choosing Christian countries because a Christian country is a safer, better place to live in than most Muslim countries. And that's not putting crap on Islam, just happens to be the fact, because there's millions of them trying to get into Europe. They're not trying to get into Iran or Saudi Arabia or Africa or anywhere. They're trying to get into Europe, which is in, they're voting with their feet for a Christian free lifestyle and all the benefits it brings. So let's notch in the head, knock in the head that this idea of racism before we go and judge anyone as racist. People should look at their own culture and blame their own culture first for their own suffering, instead of trying to divert attention away from their own problems outwards and put the blame on someone else. Thank you very much.